Hi, my name is Rog Howe. I'm the Managing Director of the Polleni Branding and Design Agency in Bristol and Lisbon, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about branding for digital. So what are we going to cover? What is branding? Why is it especially important for digital companies? And how can you convey it? And we're going to look at examples from some companies who do this really, really well: Slack, Zapier, and MailChimp. So what is branding? Branding is not just what your company looks like, it's the whole identity of your company, and that also encompasses tone of voice and behavior, the policies and actions of your company. And these three things together need to convey the same message and convey the same characteristics so that people can understand what your company is about. There are three things that make up brand identity: functions, values, and character. Let's look at functions first. The functions of your company is the easy bit, really. It's what your app or your piece of software actually does. And to help differentiate yourself from others who might be doing the same thing, you want to think about what makes your service or product different, and what are the reasons that your customers have to come to you over someone else. What makes your proposition unique? And you want to try and condense this down into one very clear message and be able to express what your company actually does in 5 to 7 words, no more than that. There's an example here from Zapier: connect your apps and automate your workflows. That's what they do. Simple, straightforward. There's no need to overcomplicate things. The second thing that makes up brand identity are the values of your company, and it's a little bit more difficult to put your finger on these than functions. But you can ask yourself, what does your app actually stand for? What do you believe in, or what does your company believe in? Slack, for example, is a tool for enabling people to work together more efficiently. So they believe in collaboration and efficiency. And they reinforce this idea by having illustration on their site with some people who are looking pretty casual, but they are looking professional, and they're getting work done. They're doing it together in an effortless kind of way. The third thing you can consider when constructing your brand identity is the character of your company. What is your app or your software or your company actually like? If it was a person, what would its character be like? Is it fun? Is it serious? Is it professional? Is it a bit crazy? And the reason why you're trying to create this character is you're trying to create a connection with your customer, and you're trying to meet the emotional need that your customer might have at the time of using your product. For example, MailChimp is a really cheeky kind of character that they've built, and it's embodied in their chimp, Freddie. He's a joker, he's an entertainer, and this isn't just plucked out of nowhere. The reason why they've chosen this character is because they want to make newsletters exciting again. It's an exciting prospect sending a newsletter out to your fans, and they've streamlined the process and made it really easy so the technology doesn't get in the way anymore. It's not a burden. They've made the process really, really seamless. You can just drag and drop, construct your newsletter, send it out, and that's quite an exciting prospect. The opportunity that it might bring to whoever's using MailChimp. They might be updating 1,000 people about a new service, and you don't know what business might come back from it. So it's exciting, and they've jumped on that feeling that they are creating, and the character that they have embodied is rolling with that feeling of excitement, by making the process entertaining, making it a bit of fun. So they're rolling with the feeling that they're already created through the functions of the company, and it really resonates with you when you're doing it, because you're like, hey, this is good, I might get some new business doing this. So why are these things much more important for digital? Well, you don't have a shop front. You've got no direct physical interaction with your customers. So you've got to create this whole world virtually. So you have a lot of things that you can influence, even though you don't have a physical space like a pub, who can choose, their carpet or what the bar looks like or what type of glass they use. You have a load of other tools at your disposal, but unlike the pub, which is physically there, you have to think about it a little bit more, because in the pub, when someone was putting together the decor of the pub, it's easy to choose from things that already exist, a bar stool or a carpet, or they're physical things that already exist. They don't create the bar stool, they don't create the carpet, they're choosing from physical things that are already there, which carry with them character. But you have to create all of those assets yourself from scratch, and it can be quite a daunting process because you have so much control that actually you need to give yourself some limitations and some boundaries to work within, so that everything you do create is consistent in the way that it looks and the way that it sounds and the way that it feels. So what are the tools you have at your disposal? The most obvious one is visuals, and that can take many forms: your logo, what colors are you going to use, your fonts, your icons, photography, and illustration. And illustration is used a lot in digital companies because you can create images, you can influence exactly what they look like and exactly what they convey and exactly what they feel like as well. So there's an example here of Zapier. They've got a little icon which is a progress bar. Instead of having a progress bar, they've replaced it with a little rocket which shows progression. It shows that they're pushing the boundaries, some level of kind of exploring and intrepid nature of a forward-thinking company. So they've taken a fairly functional bit of their website and they've made that into a brand asset. The example I have from MailChimp is the hairy arm sending the newsletter, and instead of a normal or a more kind of a model, a hand model or something like that, they've just taken, a really butch-looking hairy arm with a tattoo, and just had a lot of fun with it, and they're being very, very playful, very tongue-in-cheek, and that exactly fits with their brand values. So an asset, again, that could have been, quite a dull picture to illustrate something, but they've turned that into a really strong brand asset. And I've also pulled out the Slack logo, which is a really, really elegant piece of design because it's so simple. The shapes are so simple, but it represents the functions in the hashtag, their values, as we talked about, collaboration and efficiency, but it's also quite friendly feeling and quite warm and quite pleasing. So it kind of has a very, very nice feel about it. It's such a simple shape, but it's conveying all of those things really, really well. As well as the way that your website looks, you can control the way it speaks. You don't have a direct customer interaction and a physical customer interaction. Your interaction is through them seeing your website, but also reading your copy. And that is essentially the way that you are speaking as a company. So it's not just what you say, but how you actually say it, and what words you're going to choose, what sentence length are you going to use, what kind of language are you going to use? Is it going to be friendly? Is it going to be formal? Zapier, for example, it's quite efficient language they use, quite technologically focused, more than 1,000 apps better together. It's still quite punchy, and it's not very elaborate. It's just quite efficient, and that's essentially what they are. Whereas Slack, they also have efficiency in their makeup, but their character is a bit more friendly, and they use slightly more friendly language, making work simpler, more pleasant, and more productive. There's something really pleasing about the alliteration and using the words pleasant and simple. It feels quite safe. It feels quite friendly. MailChimp, no messing about. Build your brand, sell more stuff. Even just using the word stuff, it's very colloquial and quite irreverent in itself, and really punchy as well. So it's to the point, but it's also carrying quite a weight of character about it as well. And the final thing you have as a tool at your disposal is you can influence the behavior of your company outside of work, almost like it's recreation time, what you do and how you do it. So these can be things like your blog. You can choose exactly what you put up there. You could be talking about things that are going on in the city, but in order to choose what to talk about, you want to talk about things which are aligning with your brand identity. And a bit like you're curating your own company's social media feed, the types of things that you show that you like says something about your character. So the Zapier example I have here is they've created a guide to remote work because they have a remotely distributed workforce, which already says something about them as a progressive, forward-thinking company. But on top of that, then they've created a guide for other people to use if they are remote workers. They're not going to get any trade from that, but it just says something about them as a forward-thinking, technologically focused company. Their workforce are just distributed everywhere, and they're encouraging other people to do the same. Slack, the CEO of Slack, was talking recently at an event about the future of work. Again, showing that they're forward-thinking, like Zapier, that they have technology which is for the future, which is going to solve problems of the future, and it's going to help progress. And MailChimp, a very, very different approach. They've got a secret game that you can access when you send a newsletter, and the high five from the Freddie the Cheeky Chimp comes up. If you click it over and over again, the secret bonus game comes up, like the secret level of a console game, or the cheeky secret track at the end of a CD which is hidden. And they must have invested quite a bit in someone making this console game. It's not very advanced, but it is just completely just a bit of fun. And it's just them signposting themselves saying, hey, we're a bit cheeky, we're a bit fun, we like to play games, we've actually built one. So it says a lot about them as a company. So in summary, you want to think about your functions, values, and character, and you consider all of these in your visual touch points, but also your written touch points and the things that you do as a company and the way that you behave as well. All of those things say something about your company. So you want to build a framework and try and run every single bit of content that you make through this framework that you've decided on, and make sure that every single thing is speaking the same language and is exuding the traits that you have decided that your company wants to be showing. Thanks very much for listening. Hopefully some of that was useful information for you. If you have any questions or you'd like to talk about a branding project, feel free to drop me an email. I'm on Rog, that's ROG, @polleni.com. I'll have some more videos for you coming soon, and also there's plenty of information on polleni.com in the blog section where we talk about a lot of these things. So jump on there for some more information. I'll see you next time. Thanks.